'Twas brillig and the slithy tobes did gyre and gimble in the wabe. All the mimsy were the borogoves and the mome rats outgrabe. Were you just going to keep standing there, or would you like to have a seat? I'll be but a moment. Still have to sharpen my talons, you see. Certainly could be sharper, but I don't believe we'll be doing too much damage today. Hello, and welcome. What is it that I can help you with today? I see. I had an inkling, but I figured I would just let the conversation flow just where it may. Now, if you please would like to have a seat, I would absolutely adore reading your palm today. Get comfortable, please. This is a very quiet, a very safe space, place where you can just simply let your worries go. Any of your anxieties, just let them go. You will be safe here, and I will take care of you. Now, let me see. I think we should make you a new profile. I make profiles for all of my customers, as generally they do not just see me once, but in fact several times at the very least. There we are. A fresh, clean page. Excellent. Now, my darling, what is it that you like to go by? Excellent. And when were you born? It's very relevant. Excellent. So let's see your astrological sign. Very interesting. I don't know that I would have picked you for that, but well, there's always room for surprises, isn't there? Now, let me see. Palm reading. And would you be so kind as to enlighten me as to what the date is? Excellent. Thank you. I think for the moment, that is all we can fill out until we commence with the reading. Before we begin, is there anything that I can get you? Water? Tea? A light snack, perhaps? Absolutely. Please let me know if at any point you would like a little refreshment. I want you to be as as comfortable as you can here. Your comfort and your relaxation matter in the terms of a reading, as if you are stressed or tense at all, your hands, your palms reflect that. And I want this to be as accurate as it can be. So, I'd like to help you relax just a titch if you would like. If you could please just follow along with me with some deep breathing exercises. And I would just like to just gently stroke my fingers over your energy. I won't be touching you at all, but just simply smoothing and relaxing your energy by hand. Please take a deep breath in for me, as deep as you can. Hold for just a moment. And when you're ready, exhale fully. Simple enough? Simple yet effective. Take a deep breath in for me. Hold. And exhale fully. Deep breath in. Hold. And exhale fully. Wonderful. Let's do that just once more. Take a deep breath in. Hold. And exhale fully. Perfect. 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 Now, if you would like to just show me your hands, you can place them on the table in front of us. I want you to just relax your hands, relax your arms, your shoulders, your back, your face. Just consciously relax. Relax, relax, relax for me. Perfect. Now, as I go through your hand, I want you to know that nothing is absolute. Nothing is absolute, and the lines on your hands are apt to change, and the interpretation that I may give you may be perhaps a bit too literal, or it might have a little bit too much of my interpretation on it. So, the details that I give you are going to be a touch vague, and they're really just going to be small little whispers as to your character, as to who you are, what you're capable of. I'm not going to determine anything like your lifespan or anything so serious such as that. But just going to have a little look at your hands. We're going to look at the hands themselves. We'll look at the mounts on the hands as well as the major lines, right? Would you mind just telling me which of your hands is your dominant hand and which is your passive hand? I see. Excellent. Just one moment. Let me tell you a little bit about what that means. So if you were a left-hand dominant person, a left-hander is more creative and favors intuitive thinking. You act on gut feeling and are not afraid of failure or things going wrong because you know you will learn from this. The worst thing you can do is lose faith in your ability to realize your goals and objectives. Now, for a right-hand dominant person, if you are right-handed, this indicates you prefer practical and logical reasoning. You think things through and examine every detail before acting. You always follow the rules and never act out of turn. Be careful, as you may be tempted to relax your morals when pursuing a personal goal. Now, I don't know about you, but I myself am a right-handed dominant person, and those speak quite true of my own character. Now, I'd like to just have you do somewhat of a little silly exercise. I want you to put your hand on your face with your wrist on your chin and lay your hands just flat. Now, this determines the size of your hands. If your hands are small, they only reach your eyebrows, or maybe not even that. If they are medium, they'll reach your forehead. And if they are large, then they reach your hairline and perhaps even further back. Small hands indicate you often see the bigger picture, but you can miss out important details. You are reasonable and self-disciplined. Large hands show that you are sensitive, versatile, and curious. You enjoy examining others and asking lots of questions. Now, let's talk about your hand and the sign that it represents. So, I'd just like to have a little look at your dominant hand here. Now, there are 4 possible hand shapes that correspond with the 4 elements: earth, air, fire, and water. An earth hand would have a square palm and short fingers. Short as in your finger length does not quite reach your palm length. I myself have an earth hand. I have short fingers and a square palm on both of my hands. An air hand has a square palm and long fingers. A water hand has long fingers and a rectangular palm or a long palm. And a fire hand has a long or rectangular palm and short fingers. If you were an earth hand, then you would be busy and reliable. You would be down to earth, organized and methodical, be drawn to stability. You might be impatient and suspicious, and you might be easily roused. Now, I myself embody quite a few of those traits to the T. If you had an air hand, you could be said that you are innovative and practical. You have a strong intuition. You may be logical and reasonable, sociable, inquisitive and studious, as well as easy to get along with. If you have a water hand, you could be described as sensitive and gentle, soft-spoken, empathetic, dreamy and creative. You'd be refined and imaginative, intuitive and introverted. Oftentimes those with a water hand are said to be artists of some kind. Many artists possess water hands. If you have a fire hand, then you could be said to be adventurous and seek a challenge. You are independent, you are generous and gregarious. You enjoy attention, and you are an initiator. Fire hands are said to possess quite a bit of fire, of course, which means that they can be quite passionate and are often drawn to very high stress or high speed sort of occupations, hobbies, things of that sort. Very passionate people they are. Your earth hands are very down-to-earth sort of people, and your air hands can be a little wispy, almost, as I like to describe it. So, let's move on to looking at the lines of your hands. So, you have some major lines. You have your heart line, your head line, your life line, and although some people don't have it, you may also possess a fate line. So, on my dominant hand here, I have my heart line here, my head line rather, right here, my lifeline here, and my fate line there, which is a bit branched and broken, as is my lifeline here. But overall, very strong, very defined, and deep lines. So, let's take a look. So, I'm going to take a little look at the lines of your palm. So, as I said before, these can change over time and they can either become deeper or also fade away. The more lines you have, it's said that you can be more emotional. If you have fewer lines, then you could be said that you have a practical, physical spirit. If you have a lot of fine lines, these are signs of creativity, but those with deep and wide lines, really defined lines, can be said that they have very clear likes and dislikes. So, let's take a look at your heart line. So your heart line talks about your emotions and your love life to a point. So if you have a deeply etched heart line, then it shows that family and home life is very important to you. You have very strong bonds with your family members, but a fainter line would indicate that your head rules your heart and your ideas, your beliefs, your opinions are often ruled by your emotions. So let's look here. So if your heart line ended between your first and your second finger, then that would suggest that you have a good balance between selfishness and idealism. You're realistic and grounded and thoughtful. Now, if you had a line that curves at the end but doesn't quite go to your 2 fingers, kind of stops there, then that shows that you find it easy to express emotion and you pick yourself up when things go wrong. That is called a physical heart line. And if you had a mental heart line, then your heart line is going to be a little more straight and it's going to stop quite a bit short of your fingers. It doesn't really curve, and you find it hard to express your innermost feelings, but yet you still wish to be loved and desired. Now, if your heart line ended between your middle finger and your ring finger, then that suggests that you are self-focused and have little concern for other people. You may think about being a little more considerate about the thoughts and feelings of other people and think about how your actions influence them. If your heart line does not quite come to the other side of your palm and ends at your pinky finger, then that suggests that you are idealistic and you can feel let down by others. You're disappointed easily. It's a good idea to stay positive and to not focus so much on the opinions of other people and more so about what you feel. Let's move on to your headline. So your headline suggests how you use your brain. So we already talked about our heart line here. Your headline is right below that there. So it starts on the side of your hand and travels over to the other side, generally underneath your pinky finger. If you have a short headline that doesn't quite reach the entire hand, it indicates that you have a one-track mind, closed to new ideas, and you might be very self-centered. If you have a long headline, it shows your dedication to learning and your dedication to equality, and you may also be very strongly opinionated. So if you have a very straight headline without any curve in it, as you can see, mine is very curved. If it's more of a straight line, however, then it shows that you are logical and grounded, but you should try to push your imagination. If it curves towards the wrist, so downwards, then this means that you are imaginative and creative. You have little attention for the mundane, and your mind is often preoccupied with other thoughts. Now, if your headline has a fork at the end of it, let me show you here. So just a tiny line there that comes off and continues. This is called a writer's fork. So this indicates that you are a versatile, curious, and inventive person. You are also adaptable and resourceful. If you have a distinct bend at the end of your headline, as I have, as I said, it curves and then comes back up, then that suggests that you are materialistic. Try to focus on the meaningful and fulfilling things in your life. Now, I don't know about you, but personally, I grew up poor, so that made me quite a bit materialistic, but hands show that as well. Let's move on to your lifeline. So the lifeline, again, does not say anything about how long your life is going to be. It more suggests how much you enjoy life and how passionate you are. It also reveals physical energy. Sometimes it can have a little bit of an insight as to health as well. Sometimes it's said that breaks or little chains in the lifeline indicate periods of illness. Again, it does not indicate how long you live, but it does suggest your vitality and energy that you have in life. So if you have a lifeline that hugs the thumb and comes in real close to it, then this indicates your reluctance to take the lead. You don't always stand up for yourself, but you do defend others. You are mental rather than physical. If you have a very wide lifeline that comes way out and comes back in, this suggests that you have a thirst for adventure. You relate well to children and enjoy helping those in need. So I want to look at the relationship between your lines a little bit. Firstly, I want to look at the headline and the lifeline. So if there is a gap between the two, mine are connected, so that wouldn't apply to me. If there's a gap between the two, you are independent and impulsive. The larger the gap indicates how more outspoken and impulsive you are. If your headline touches the lifeline, then this suggests that you are a cautious person who thinks before acting. I can also personally attest to that. So let's take a little look at the mounts on your hand, okay? All right. So I'm going to grab some cards so I can really show you what exactly a mount is and where they're located. So mounts are the fleshy bits of skin along your palms. So either you can have an area that doesn't really have anything to it, and that could be called an underdeveloped mount. It could just be a normal raised area, or flat area rather, and that would be just a regular average mount. And then you could have, like I have here, a very well raised mount as well, and that would be an overdeveloped mount. So let's start with the Mount of Mars. Let me show you here. So the Mount of Mars is right here on the palm. So that would be right in this area, Mount of Mars. Let me go ahead and just take a little feel at yours. So this mount, if it is quite firm, it shows that you have stamina, but a weak mount or an underdeveloped mount shows that you are a bad judge of character. Mine is a little more average. It's not underdeveloped, but it's not overdeveloped as well. So could suggest that I have a touch of stamina, but I'm certainly not a bad judge of character. I do hold myself to think that I have a very good judge of character. Although, don't tell any of my ex-boyfriends that. So the inner Mount of Mars, right here, that is going to be right in here. It's a little fleshy part between the webbing of your hand here. And that's something, that webbing there. So the Mount of Mars on the inner corner folds when the hand moves. Right here. That little fold there. Let me feel yours. So if it's firm to the touch, that means you are physically courageous. If it's soft and spongy, this means you lack self-confidence. Here with you. The Mount of Jupiter is situated underneath your index finger, right here. This little bit, the root of your finger. Let me show you here. Right here. So, if it is a raised part of flesh, this indicates that you are confident and aspiring. You set goals and achieve them. You strive for growth and abundance. Now we'll move on to the Mount of Luna, which is going to be at the base of your hand, opposite your thumb there. This mount should be firm to the touch and denotes a strong and creative imagination. If this is the dominant mount, you are a daydreamer. A high mount indicates a strong interest in travel. Let me feel that on you there. I see. Let's move on to the Mount of Mercury. This is situated under the root of your pinky finger, right here. On my hand, right here. A developed mount highlights you are interested in the world around you. You enjoy competition as well as affection and entertaining. Low mounts can show insincerity. Right there. The Mount of Venus is underneath your thumb, right at the base of your thumb, right there. A high mount shows you are loving and enthusiastic nature. You enjoy life to its fullest. This mount is an important factor in determining compatibility. Right here. Let me take a feel at yours, if you don't mind. There we are. And the Mount of Saturn is situated underneath your middle finger. Right here. This is usually the least prominent mount, but even a slight raise shows strength and commitment to your duties and responsibilities. You are diligent and industrious. Right there, right underneath. Yeah, you have that's a good raise to you. But yeah, it certainly is the weakest mount in the hand in general. But there's still a little bit to that. And the Mount of Apollo is situated underneath your ring finger. Right here. A developed mount indicates an interest in the world around you. You enjoy competition, affection, and entertaining. A non-existent mount indicates you lack imagination. Let's take a feel there. Okay. All right. So we've looked at the lines of your hands. We've felt along the mounts of the hand. Do you have any questions for me at all? Yeah, these all just suggest little tidbits about your personality and not so much about your physical life, but you as a person, who you are, what you like, sort of traits that you have. Every palm reader is different. Everybody has something different to interpret, something different to say. So let's work out your profile a little bit, shall we? So let me see. So as far as the hand size, and the hand element, as well as the heart, head, and lifelines. I did forget one thing. You didn't remind me. We hadn't looked at your fate line. So your fate line comes right down, and this is more of a simple line. Some people have it, some people don't. I have one on both of my hands here. But your fate line simply just corresponds to how tied to fate you are, how much your actions are fated. Almost, I suppose one could say that it is similar to how soulmates operate, right? The idea that no matter what you do, you'll always find this other person in your life, right? No matter the choices you make, you're always fated to meet them. Somewhat like that. You still certainly have free will and autonomy, but no matter what, your actions will always come to a certain outcome. So a very strong, deep fate line can suggest you are incredibly tied to fate, whereas a fainter one or a non-existent one, then that means fate will probably leave you alone a little bit. So some different breaks or changes in the line itself can suggest that your fate has changed or you've gone in a completely different direction. So if you have quite a few of these different breaks or spaces or intersections, then you might have a lot of different changes in your life that you decide to go with. So let's take a look at yours. So there is a bit of a faint line there and there, but it's not so deeply etched that I would say that fate has its eyes on you, which is neither a bad thing nor a good thing. Those who believe that they are free to completely choose their own fate would rejoice in a faint or non-existent fate line. But either way, it's not a positive or negative thing. So now I'm just writing the little bits regarding your lines in the hand. And the mouths. Let me just write those all down. Yeah, just what your mounts had corresponded to as well. Let me just tear this out for you. So, this is your profile for your hand. You're more than welcome to keep it, or I can also keep it here so that when you inevitably come back, it's all ready for you to reveal and see what has changed in your future, in your palms. Just set this here for you then. Well, that concludes our palm reading session today. Is there anything else that I can do for you, my dear? Wonderful. I appreciate you coming to see me, and I hope that you have a whale of a day.